So good afternoon, everybody. This is Lunchtime Vinyasa class. So it's just 30 minutes of yoga practice, which you could turn into longer if you want to do Shavasana at the end, a nice big long Shavasana on your own. But for the start, we're just going to sit down in a way that's comfortable for you. If you prefer to sit up on something, you can sit on a block or you can sit on a pillow or a blanket. Just make yourself kind of a comfortable seat if that's a possibility. And then I just like to, sit up a little taller without sticking my rib cage out, just creating a little bit of a length in my spine. Now, I like to rest my hands palm down on my legs usually because it sort of makes me feel a little grounded if I've been doing a bunch of projects. I like being able to kind of feel like I'm coming home. But if you are feeling a little sluggish this morning, you can turn your palms up, which just kind of lightens up or brings your energy up. And I think it just gives the mind something to notice, frankly. But in any case, you can try either one. So we're going to take a nice deep breath and then just kind of settle in like you're sinking into the hot tub. Notice if your shoulders are a little bit hunchy, let the shoulders relax. Relax the forehead and the eyes. The jaw. And the lips. And then notice the breath drop in and feel the breath go. That inhale, take that downward trajectory all the way down towards the legs. And then feel the exhale just kind of lighten its way up all the way out. Chin fall towards your chest. Try not to let yourself round. We're just going to roll the head around one shoulder. And then the other. Now, along the way, if you notice little tight places, you can linger through those little tight places. Give them a little extra love. Hopefully it feels like love. The crinkly cellophane bubble wrappy sound like love. I don't know if your neck makes that noise, but in any case, we're going to do it one more time. And then once you get even on both sides and you've returned to the middle, go ahead and float your head up. You can do some little movements. And then bring yourself to what feels like a level chin. So we're going to turn the head. See how far around it goes to the left. Come on back, see how far it goes around to your right. And then we're going to do a little experiment. So we're going to take the left shoulder blade and draw it down. You can even reach the arm out to the side. Then turn your head to the left, see if you get a little bit more range of motion. Coming back around, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take the right arm, drop that shoulder blade down, and then turn your head, look over the right side. Ooh, do it one more time on each side. I'm going to do that with the shoulder blade because I definitely got a bigger range of motion. Alright, once you get back to the middle, we're going to take the shoulders around. So just roll them up around and back a few times. Try to get the shoulder blades to move as much as they're willing. Oh, feels good. And then we're going to go the other direction. Okay. Oh, that feels good. All right, let's do a little bit of work for our wrists just because in the event you've been working at your computer all morning, this will feel nice. So we're going to circle the hands around. Go the other direction. and spread the fingers out really wide. Now, I'm trying to get my pinky and my thumb as far away as possible, and then make the 3 inside fingers go quite towards the middle, right? And then squeeze the hands as tight as you can do it without causing trouble with your palms and your fingernails. So stretch out, see if you can bring those middle fingers around the center, stretch the thumb and index finger away, and then we're curling everything in. Good, open it up, stretch across, and then we're curling everything in. We're gonna give everything a little rinse, and then we're coming up to all fours. Okay. So, you're gonna start with your hands pointing forward. We'll do a couple of rounds of cat like that. You can have your hands a little further out if you want to lessen the impact on your wrists. Now we're going to turn the hands out to the sides, and we'll do a couple of rounds like that. And if that's troublesome, don't go any farther than that. You can go back to the front. What I'm going to do is turn one hand to the front and one hand around the back. And then one more time, I'm going to give myself a little cat shape. I'm going to flip it and do the other wrist. So a little cat shape. We'll give it a little shake out. All right, so let's do one more shoulder stretch while we're here. So we're going to take one arm underneath the opposite armpit. Once your shoulder's on the ground, you have some options. So I like to push so that it sort of sends my shoulder a little deeper into the stretch. You could just wrap this arm behind your back, or you can leave it kind of as a little help to just kind of shift the weight a bit more into the shoulder. So it just depends on how it feels to you. I like to push my shoulder into the floor and just kind of pull back against the resistance of this arm. Oh. And then moving my hips a little bit just keeps my low back happy. Good, one more breath. Now we'll come out of there. I'm gonna go to a child's pose for a moment, just give it a wobble, and then give that shoulder a little circular movement. A little shaky, shaky. And then if I compare the two arms, I feel a little bit of a difference. This might just be blood flow, but it feels different. And then we're gonna do the opposite side. So when you're ready, put your opposite arm under. Decide how that's going to work for you best. All right, last breath. And then we're going to come on back and give myself a chance to shake out that arm a little bit. And then one more time, just compare the two arms and shoulders. Now this is a little bit intense, but what I'm going to do is bring my knees in slightly, and that might be all that happens. It's possible you can send your hips a little forward and send the back a little bit more into a back bend. It's kind of like a kneeling kind of cobra shape. This can be tricky, so be mindful. Maybe it goes a little bit further forward. And then we're going to press the elbows and come forward all the way to the belly. Rinse out the top of your back, upper back. And then we're going to lift a little baby cobra. Okay, come on back down. Slide your hands back about an inch. Press your legs into the floor, little baby cobra. Come on back down, one more time. Little baby cobra. Come on back down. So we're going to take the arms out so that they're about, I don't know, little, maybe around shoulder height. I like mine a little bit less than shoulder height, like closer a little bit to the ribs. And make a little tent with your fingers. And we're going to lift up a little bit so we can take the right shoulder forward and the left shoulder back. You can look up over the left shoulder. Come on back, do the left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. I'm trying to pull my right shoulder blade down underneath that left shoulder blade. Doesn't always work out. Right shoulder, left shoulder. Oh, it feels good though. And then one more time, right shoulder and left shoulder. All right, come on back. We'll give ourselves a little windshield wiper moves just to release any tension from the low back. And then we're going to take this into down dog. If down dog's not your jam, you can stick with an all fours position. I'm not going to judge. Now, find a position for your hands that feels solid. Move your shoulder blades up and down your back a little bit. And try to find the spot that feels like your shoulders integrate with your upper back the best. Doesn't matter where they fall. You should feel strong across your upper back, okay? Then we're going to walk the heels up and down. So the upper back is nice and secure, neck is nice and loose, and then hopefully, the backs of your legs are getting some love. Oh, that feels nice. All right, yogis, we're going to walk ourselves up to the top of the mat. When you get there, come up halfway. Exhale and fold. And then we're going to come all the way to standing. And you can give yourself a big stretch. All right. So we're going to step at the top of the mat. Now, I'm going to face this way because it's easiest to see this whole thing sideways, but you're standing at the top of your mat wherever that might be, so you got some room behind you to step back. Find a mountain pose that feels like you're standing in a consciously upright position, right? It's not just, hanging. But I've got a little core support. Shoulders are relaxed. I'm intentionally standing. And then we're going to shift the weight into the right leg. We're going to take the left leg and just bring the knee up nice and high. We're going to see that might be plenty. Now some people may want to reach down, grab hold of their big toe, and then try to straighten out. Try to straighten out their leg. I'm going to decide that's not going to work out. I'm just going to hold on to my knee because it's making me wobbly. All right, so then we're going to let go of the foot. We're going to step this leg all the way back and take a little warrior one shape. Hold on. Okay. I don't know what I did. I pushed a button. All right. So we're in warrior one. We're going to take the arms and kind of stretch them up and then stretch them back so that your shoulder blades get really close. Then we're going to push those arms forward. So bring them up, bring them back, push them forward, bring them up, bring them back, push them forward. Now we're going to fold forward, wrap the arms behind your back. And now I'm going to lean a little to the diagonal here so I can let my neck relax, but my rib cage is resting on the top of my thigh right here. So we're just going to let these arms come open. Now, I can't really get my arms up off my back, but if I throw a strap into the mix and let my hands get a little farther apart, then I can get my arms up. So if you're like me, you can try something like that, or just hang where you are. Last big breath here. All right, so we're going to take this back to down dog. Step yourself back. Find a moment, just feel the right side and the left side. Then we're going to come forward into a plank. Now you can maintain a full plank, modify your plank, draw your navel in nice and smooth. Really lift through those shoulders. Last breath here. And then lower it down, come into your cobra, or if you're an up dog fan, you can do that one. And then we'll take it back to down dog. Take your right leg up, bring that knee in, give it a little hug, stretch it back, step it forward, pause, look up, then bring your other leg up to meet it, come up halfway, hold, and come all the way to standing. Me and my plants have to work things out. Eventually they'll grow to the window again. We'll have more room. So standing in your mountain pose, feel, is your right side different than your left? And so just kind of noticing that shift. Okay, so I'm switching myself over to my left leg, Bringing my right knee up, that might be all that happens. Or maybe you grab that big toe. Take in a big breath. Let go of your big toe, and then we're gonna step back into warrior one. All right, so find your pose so your hips love you, or at least they don't dislike you. Bring your arms up, pull them back, push them forward. Bring them up, pull them back, push them forward. One more time, up, back, forward. Now we're gonna fold forward, and again, you can hold onto your other hand. So like if you lace your fingers together, put a different finger on top, grab an opposite wrist, or you could use a strap again. And so allowing yourself kind of some space around the shoulders, nice strong legs. Breathe. One more. And then we're going to step ourselves back into downward dog. Oh, so I love these little touchstone poses like dog or mountain, where you can see if there's a difference. And then we'll come forward into a plank, and you're going to hold the plank for a bit. So either modified or fold. Lift through the shoulders, really draw the navel and curl in your tailbone just a little bit. Keep that low back strong. And then we're going to lower down. Coming into your cobra. Coming back to your dog. Taking a big breath, lifting your left leg up behind you. Exhale, bring that thing in. Inhale, reach it back. And then step it forward. Pause, look up. Bring your other foot up. Come up halfway. Fold. And then we're going to come all the way to standing. Give it a big stretch. Ooh. Find your mountain pose. Can you feel a difference in your pose and the way it feels to just be right here? All right, so we're going to sink down into a chair pose. Now, keep your heart lifted. You can have your arms up if you want. We're going to try a little balance work though. So you can bring your thighs as close together as it needs to be in order to just maintain stability. We're going to lift up onto our tiptoes and then come down back to the heels. Okay, up onto the tiptoes. Back to the heels. One more time, up onto the tiptoes. And then we're going to fold forward, heels down, fold, come up halfway, exhale, fold. Now, we're going to put the hands on the floor and step back into a lunge. If you want, you can use blocks instead of putting your hands on the ground. So we're going to play with the legs a little bit. So right now, my right knee is quite, just right over that ankle, and my left leg is back far enough that I can feel it when I press my heel back. There's the stretch all the way through the calf muscle, and I've got some sensation on the front of this hip, okay? So that's the spot I want to be in. You can add a little or take away a little. We're going to try to press back through the heel as far as we can go as we straighten out the front leg. So I'm going to get a little bit of hamstring, a little bit of calf muscle, and I'm going to bend the front knee and roll towards my toes. Okay, so I got the weight in the toe mount. Then I'm going to push the heel back, straighten out my front leg a little or a lot, depending on your hamstrings. Press that heel toward the floor. Bend your front knee, roll up onto the ball of your foot a little bit. Okay, one more time. Heel goes back. Straighten out the front leg, press the heel towards the floor. Maybe this time we fold a little deeper, maybe not. One more breath here. All right, so then we're going to bend the knee. We're going to step back into dog. See if you can feel a difference. Now you can add a vinyasa here. Come forward into plank. Lower down, do a cobra or an upward dog. And then meet me up here. And then we're going to take a nice big breath, lift that left leg up. Step that foot forward. And we're in the opposite lunge, okay? And so my left knee right over my ankle. I've got enough room that when I push back, I start to feel that stretch in my calf muscles, and I feel a stretch on the front of my right hip. There's my lunge, okay? Heel goes back, straighten the front leg a bit. I'm still pressing my foot towards the ground, even though it might not touch today. And then bend the knee, roll onto the ball of the foot, okay? Heel goes back, knee goes a little straighter, heel pressing towards the floor. Ooh, that's a lot of stretchiness. Knee bends up onto the ball of the foot. One more time, heel back, leg a little straighter, press towards the floor. Beautiful. And then we're going to step ourselves back into downward dog. Now, again, you can throw in a vinyasa here, or you can just bring yourself to a child's pose. When you're done with your vinyasa, just come join everybody in child's pose. Notice if there's a difference between the child's pose now and the child's pose at the beginning, or close to the beginning. And then we're going to come to a seated position. Now, I'm going to do a simple cross-legged seating position. You can do either the knee up with one leg in front of the shin, or the knee up with the leg around the thigh, okay? If your hip won't go to the ground, pick a different one. This is the most simple, which is both sit bones on the floor, simple cross-legged position. Sit up nice and tall. Whatever leg's on top or in front, that's the direction you're gonna spin. So we're gonna spin to that direction. So for me, that's going to my left. Once you get the twist in your lower part of your back, put your hands down for a second, get a little taller, and then we're gonna try to twist just the shoulder girdle. So we're going to bring, in this case, this is my right arm. I'm bringing my right shoulder forward and my left shoulder backward. And it's almost like I'm going to try to take my two shoulder blades and slide them into almost like a figure 8, okay? So that right shoulder's trying to go on top and my left shoulder's trying to get underneath. If you can feel that in your upper back, okay? So I've got my lower back turned the amount it's willing to go, and then I'm working that shoulder girdle line and letting the neck go where it wants to go. We're going to take some deep breaths. Now, don't turn the body up, but do turn your head the other way, and just see if you look out over the front shoulder, which in my case is my right one, does that feel differently in the neck? And take one more breath. And then we're going to unwind this whole thing. We're going to take that leg that was in front and kick that out to the side. We're going to side bend over it. So I'm going to take my right side over the left, give it a nice big side bend. Take one more big breath. Ooh, come all the way out. Give both legs a little rinse. And give your back a little front to back, side to side. Ooh, rib cage circles. Oh, it feels good, yogis. Hopefully it feels good in your world. So this is the trickier part, right? So usually we have a way that sitting cross-legged feels best. So this is my side that's not my best. And for you, it might be better to have that leg up on the side. So you're gonna figure this out. Sit up nice and tall, spin the lower part of your back as far around as it'll go. Put your hands down for a second. And then we're gonna do the shoulder blade action. So left shoulder blades going up, right shoulder blades going down and in. I'm gonna try to slide them in on top of each other. Again, it's just a trick of my imagination. The shoulder blades are going to move in whatever pattern they move in, but it feels really interesting to try this idea. and then turn your head as much as you like. Try not to try to drag yourself into the twist with your head. Just let your head kind of go along as far as it wants to go. Again, you may have discovered at the beginning that the way our shoulder blades work allows either more or less range of motion, so we're just kind of experimenting a little bit with what that feels like right now. Okay, so we're going to turn the head the other way without losing the twist of the body. I have a little adhesion under my right shoulder blade from old scar tissue, so sometimes it feels really nice as I turn my head the opposite way to really draw that shoulder blade down. Feel that line stretch. Ooh. Just notice if for you there's different patterns happening there. And then we're going to unwind it all. And then we're straightening out the opposite leg. So in my case, the right side. And we're going to take a nice little side bend over there to the right. You can kind of play with how much you're rotating. I like to use just really conscious movement in and out of poses quite a lot. It feels really nice to move that way. And when I'm doing a yoga practice like this one, that's a little bit more active, oriented, it feels really nice to have those little movement patterns. Okay, take one more breath. And we're going to come on out. Now, we're going to do one symmetrical shape to kind of balance everything out, and that's going to be a butterfly. Now, you can keep this feet as tight as you can, lift really tall, fold only from the pelvis and keep your back really long. And if you have a vulnerable low back, this might be the way to go. You can also let this pose get rounder. And I like this because it feels really good to breathe into my back that way. But again, be kind to your spine. So if you've got some disc troubles, this might be the wrong thing to do. So if it feels funky, don't do it. And you'll just learn from your practice as time goes. So we'll take about 4 more breaths here. Last big breath. Bring yourself all the way out. Give your legs a little love. Now, yogis, this is the point where you ask yourself the question, do I have a few more moments to spend? Then you could just lay down on your mat, do some shavasana. But maybe you got stuff to do. You got to go back to work. And so this is the time where you're going to do that. It's up to you. So our half an hour is up, believe it or not. But you can do shavasana on your own. But before we get there, let's take a big breath together. Nice big inhale. Big deep sigh. Namaste. Welcome to the rest of your day. Have a good one, you guys.